So in this video, I'll be talking about the middle of your essay, which would be the body, and there should be two body paragraphs, 1 and 2. If you chose to do two different books and you are comparing two characters, you might do one body paragraph on one character and then the other body paragraph on the other character. If you are doing just one character and one book, you might do one characteristic of your character. So maybe that they were honest and talk about that and give some examples. And then in the second body paragraph, you could talk about another quality that they had. So maybe, for example, bravery. So the example that's here, what I want to point out is there are transitions. And so those are really important that you use those to start out your paragraphs. So an example of this. Now notice the first sentence of the paragraph is when Ponyboy learns to be honest with himself, he begins to take responsibility for his actions. So again, I'm going to keep going back to my thesis statement about in order to make a change for the better, a person needs to be honest, understanding, and brave. So this paragraph is going to talk about Ponyboy's honesty. So you want to keep going back to that thesis statement and look at that and then make sure that when you are doing your body paragraphs that you are proving that thesis statement. That's really the whole point of this essay, is to prove that this is true based on what your character was like or what your characters were like. So make sure that you keep going back to your thesis statement and reading it and make sure you're sticking with that, because the whole thing should be centered around that. So you're going to write a first sentence to start out the body paragraph, and then you try and use a transition, and then you can see that there's a quote from page 62. This is really important. When you find your quote, make sure you put your page number after it, and make sure right here that you use quotation marks around your quote. So find a quote from your text and put it in here, and then if you go on to the next one, here is another transition. Later in the story, comma, and then there's some more information about Ponyboy. And so you're going to keep talking about either your character from one book, or you would talk about how that character trait relates to your thesis statement. And then you just have a conclusion statement. So once you have all these pieces in place, then you can take all of these and put them together into a paragraph. So again, I'm just copying because I want to keep everything where it was originally to make sure that I have everything from each of those. So I'm putting each in here, and then I had my next sentence, and I'm putting it all together. Remember, this is like putting together a puzzle. And then this was my concluding sentence for that body paragraph. So notice that I have my first sentence here, which should be indented. Now here again, here's my introduction. This is my body paragraph 1. And so it goes right after the first paragraph and it's indented. Here's my transition, and I have all those pieces together. So for the next part, I would just do the same thing for my body paragraph 2. Again, either talk about another quality of your character, prove it with some quotes or one quote, and then put it all together so that you just keep building your essay. In the next video, we'll talk about your conclusion.